So, some news this weekend.
Yes.
Never a quiet moment in an election year. I don't know about you, but what I'm seeing online is a lot of people thanking President Biden and also being really confused about what comes next and like what happens. And so, as our illustrious leader here at People For and a former elected official, I wanted to ask you what does happen next, because you seem like a qualified person to answer that for me.
Well, that's very kind. Illustrious and qualified. Two things I've never been called before. Things must have really changed over the weekend. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the same questions online. I'm even getting them in line, like at CVS. People are like, so what the heck happens now? Never happened before. That's why everybody's confused. This is the latest an incumbent president has ever announced that they are not running for re-election. It's the closest to the convention, the closest to the general election. Obviously, President Biden's had a long and actually illustrious career. And his advanced age is, an issue. It has become apparently insurmountable. So he's decided to step down. Well, what does that mean? There was already the primaries in all the states. How do you choose a candidate now? Well, here's what happens. I've been a delegate to several conventions before, when I was 20 and then 24 and then 28. And the way these conventions work is actually how the nominee is chosen. Most people are familiar with the Electoral College, that each vote for president actually chooses, I roll. I don't love it either. But that we don't directly elect our presidents via a popular vote. We vote for electors that then go to this Electoral College and submit votes on behalf of the people who voted. Conventions work the same way. That's how primaries work too. So when you vote in a primary, you're not actually voting for the candidate. You're voting for like 5 or 6 people from your county to go on your behalf to the convention. In this case, it's to go to Chicago. And those candidates are typically pledged. So when once I was a delegate for Hillary Clinton. So I'd be pledged to go and vote for Hillary. I went to the convention in Philadelphia. When it was my turn to cast my vote, I voted for Hillary because that's what I promised to do. I was pledged. All these candidates all these delegates were pledged to Biden. They're now released, and President Biden is encouraging them to vote for Kamala Harris. So they're going to go to Chicago. They can do whatever they'd like. So these delegates are technically released. They can vote for themselves. They can vote for you, Meg. They could vote for Kamala or whoever. Don't shake your head. Don't shake your head. The job's not that bad.
I would like to formally pledge any votes for me to anyone else.
To literally anyone else.
Literally anyone else.
It's a rough one. So that's what'll happen. They will go. It's not ideal. I mean, in an ideal system, every voter would have their vote counted directly. One person, one vote. But it's also not the worst way to handle things. I think a lot of folks think the DNC delegates are, it's just Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama in a back room deciding amongst themselves who the candidate's going to be. The truth is, I know a lot of these delegates. I know these people. They're generally just like the most politically engaged 5 people in every county in the country. Some of them are slightly odd. I have one friend who collects buttons. He loves going to the conventions because he likes to collect as many political buttons as he can. But most of them are like small town mayors, small city mayors like I was, or county legislators. A lot of them are district attorneys from their county, and that they're being entrusted to go off to the big political convention and speak for their neighborhood. Having a couple thousand extremely politically active folks together in an arena to choose who the candidate's going to be is how we've done things for generations in this country, and it's what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. Like, we don't all have the capacity to like fly to Chicago and in person be like, this is who I vote for. That would be kind of a mess. And I don't know about you, but I don't have enough money laying around to just like fly to Chicago for a day.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to like do it through this kind of delegate process.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that there are people from our communities. They're not just like, Tammany Hall, like smoke-filled back rooms, making these choices. A certain name has fallen out of the coconut tree, as it were. We are President Biden has thrown his support behind Kamala Harris. How are you feeling? There's a lot of discourse online, as there always is.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was on the ticket with Biden.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
I mean, she didn't just exist. She exists within the context of all that came before her, right?
Exactly.
It's not surprising. President Biden chose her to be vice president 4 years ago. Choosing a vice president is saying, if something were to happen to me, this is who I would like to take over, right? That's what he said 4 years ago. It's what he's saying now. I'm unable to continue. This is who I would like to take over. It's not that big a surprise. I can understand why, too, having met her a couple times. She's extremely smart, extremely sharp, very, very energetic and hardworking. And, she's been very electorally successful. She was elected DA in Oakland, then district attorney in San Francisco. She's attorney general for the state of California, which is like, if it were a nation, it would be the fifth largest economy in the world. And then she was elected U.S. Senator, right? It's a Black woman in America to achieve all of those offices and still be 20 years younger than Donald Trump is a sign of incredible work ethic and determination. So I'm not surprised that President Biden's endorsed her. Quite a lot of people have now endorsed her. Many members of Congress and Senate, folks that were being bandied around, like Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker, as possible presidential nominees, have now endorsed her. So she looks to be in a very strong position going into the convention.
Personally, am so excited to see her potentially debate Donald Trump. As someone who watched her question Brett Kavanaugh during his nomination hearing, I will have popcorn. I am ready for this potential debate.
Well, I wouldn't want to argue with her over the price of a sandwich, right? Much less if I had been convicted of 40 plus felonies, right? The last thing I would want to do is be standing across the stage from a well-spoken, sharp prosecutor. And that's exactly who he's going to be facing on the debate stage if Donald Trump agrees to debate. So, yeah, I think he may be in for a tough time if he debates Kamala Harris. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to duck it. He tries to duck every difficult thing, from his bone spurs that he used as an excuse to get out of serving his country. To now, so we'll see. But if she is the nominee, she's going to be a tough person to debate.
As all of this is happening at the top of the ticket, what can just like normal folks like me, like kind of like you, what can we do? What can we be doing kind of at home? What should we be, with all the noise kind of like going on, what should we be focusing on?
Yeah. Well, 3 things. First, donate. I know this seems crass to say, but Elon Musk has now said he's going to give $45 million a month to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is openly on stage at his rally saying that he is accepting bribes. He says, if rich people give me money, I will make life easy for those rich people. I'm not paraphrasing. I'm telling you exactly what Donald Trump is saying out loud at his rallies. The only way to beat a handful of billionaires is if all of us who are not billionaires pitch in $10, $25, $50, whatever you can afford. You could donate at People for the American Way, pfaw.org, pfaw.org, to donate to keep this train going. You can also volunteer. This is going to be, making history is never easy. Those of us who were old enough, and I was just barely old enough to work for Barack Obama back in 2008, remember, there are a lot of barriers that we're going to have to overcome. That means knocking on doors. It means calling people. It means stuffing envelopes. You can go to our website to figure out how you can volunteer and get involved. And the third thing, of course, is to remember that the top of the ticket gets the most attention, but most change happens at the city council, mayoral, school board, and gubernatorial level. And so finding your local candidates, which you can find on our website as well, finding what other local races are happening so you can get involved there, is how we make sure that America is a land of true patriotism. That means the true patriotism, which means putting the country above yourself. in the same sort of selfless, egoless way we saw President Biden ultimately decide not to run for re-election. And is a very stark contrast from what we see Donald Trump and his MAGA cronies doing. So we need everybody to help us live up to the true sense of selfless patriotism by getting involved right now. Don't wait till November. We need people involved and engaged right now.
And picking up on that patriotism note, I think this is an exciting moment for a lot of folks, right? Like let's be real, there were a lot of us that were going to vote for Biden, but maybe we weren't super excited. But we were going to do it, right? Because that's what our patriotism called us to do. But this feels like a change moment, right? Like a moment where we should be dreaming big about like, what do we want our future and our democracy to look like? How do we want it to work for us? It's like, what's your big dream for our democracy? Like, what in this moment, what is your kind of like pie in the sky? This is what we're working towards goal for us.
Yeah, this would be the true, and you're right, because this is a change moment. This is the first time since 1976, that we haven't had either a Bush, a Biden, or a Clinton on the ballot. Right? Wow. This would be the first time we would get to vote for a member of a new generation since 1992, right? We've had boomers as president since 1992, a pretty remarkable run. So what does that mean we have a chance to do? We have a chance to reimagine our entire system of service delivery. Can we have a better healthcare system than the one we've had forever? Can we imagine a world of better insurance coverage? Right? Can we imagine a world without wars? And can we actually achieve it? Can we imagine a world in which teachers are actually free to teach, educators are free to tell the truth to their students, where judges are actually impartial and fair and not just politicians that wear robes? And can we imagine a voting system that is so easy and so simple that everyone does it? Every single person votes. And if we do that, can we finally overcome the era of big money dominating our politics? That can happen. We now have a chance to really turn the page on an era of American politics. And we get to do it all while demonstrating a new type of leadership. Like, I want to name this because people might be tiptoeing around it. Like, oh, I'm going to vote for her, but it's not because she's a woman. It's because she's the best candidate. She is the best candidate if it's Kamala. But, when I was 19 years old, Barack Obama becoming president was a really big deal for me and for a lot of other Black men. It gave me the confidence to go and knock on doors myself and run for office. It changed the way people said, oh, you look like, instead of saying you look like a basketball player or a rapper, they'd say, oh, you look like the president of the United States. That is something that has never happened for my sister. She's never had that ultimate figure of authority in our country be a woman, and a Black woman at that. And that's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And we shouldn't move past what that means, what it could mean for a generation of girls and women. And, 46-0, 46 consecutive male presidents. I don't think we've earned that win. Yeah, I don't think we've earned that winning streak. I would just say for the men. So I think it's time. I think it's well past time.
I think we could try something different. Just
switch it up.
Maybe
switch it up. See what happens. Switch what happens as a treat.
Any last words for President Biden, potential nominee Harris, people watching? What do you want to close on?
Well, I want to say thank you to President Biden. He was a great partner when I was in office as mayor of Ithaca. He never forgot where the rubber met the road, and a really hard thing to do, to step down when you feel like you could run again and win again. And to the rest of us, I'd say it's up to us now. This is our chance to prove that we are not cult followers, that we will not put our heads in the sands, that we will fight for truth, fight for justice, and fight for the American way. Now is the time, right now is the time to build the momentum we need. So please do join us. Please donate
at peoplefor.org. Join the hundreds of thousands of us who believe in truth, justice, in the American way.